morning, everyone, and welcome to the webinar, How to Deal with FOWOT, also known as Fear of What Others Think of You. We've all heard of FOMO, fear of missing out, but in my role as a public speaking trainer and coach, helping people get ready to share their messages on stage, in training, FOWOT is one of the common things that people bring to me. So in the 30 minutes I have with you, I want to share with you some ideas, some strategies to help you deal with FOWOT. And FOWOT, fear of what others think of me, think of you, is very, very common in society. So up front, don't be embarrassed, don't be ashamed if FOWOT is one of the things that runs through your mind as you prepare, as you get ready to present. So Peter Dew's my name. I'm a public speaking trainer and coach, and my mission in life is to empower people to find their voice, to share their knowledge, their messages, and change the world they want to through the way you want to, through the spoken word. Ask questions as we go, take notes, participate, think about how you may use this information. Assuming you do on occasion suffer from FOWOT, which of the strategies are you going to use to put that FOWOT in the background so you can go ahead and be a great trainer, a great speaker, have great impact? If I don't know the questions, I will get back to you. So still ask those questions and I'll find out and get back to everyone. And as most of you know, I record this webinar. So if you've missed out or I speak too fast and you want to go over something, then the recording will be made available to each of you who've registered for this webinar. All right. Let's get underway. Oh, and do ask questions as we go, because I like to deal with them there and then if possible. A little bit of agenda. So dealing with FOWOT, we'll go deeper into these 4 strategies. First of all, it's not about you, it's about the audience. It's about your audience. Number 2, what people think of you is in fact their own private business. As I look at you in the virtual world and you look at me, your opinions, your thoughts are really none of my business. Come from a service mindset. That is a mindset of being of service to your audience. And focus on the end goal. What do you want to happen? There are 4 strategies that combined or individually will help you deal with any fear that you may have around what people think of you. So why FOWOT? It's also called FOPO, by the way. Fear of other people's opinions, fear of what people think of me, fear of what other people's opinions of me. In the public speaking world where I work, what I find is that when I look deeper into why are you nervous, why are you anxious? Now for me, it's because I stutter and I may not be able to get my words out. For other people and older people, it's fear of if I forget where I'm at, if I have a brain drain or a senior's moment. And I don't like to read from a script word for word because that's not engaging public speaking. But the common thread that comes through is, what if people don't like me? What if my message doesn't gel, doesn't connect, doesn't resonate with the people in the room? What if people think I'm a fake? What if they think I'm an imposter? What if someone in the room knows more than me? All of this is fear of what others think about us when we've taken on the role of public speaking, training, presenting. I'm going to do something that I very rarely do. I'm going to read something from Harvard Business Review. So forgive me for the reading. But it's about FOPO. FOWOT, FOPO, the same thing. If you want to be your best and perform at a high level, fear of people's opinions may be holding you back. Think about a time when you were extremely anxious, say, before standing up to public speak. This is, of course, MySpace. Raising your hand in a big meeting, or even walking through a room of strangers. The reason you felt small and scared and tense is you were worried about social disapproval. This is really what FOWOT and FOPO is. Worrying about what other people think of us and maybe that negative thoughts about us. Our fear of other people's opinions, or FOPO as I call it, has become an irrational and unproductive obsession in the modern world. And its negative effects reach far beyond performance, far beyond public speaking. If you start paying less and less attention to what makes you, you, that is your talents, your beliefs, your values, and start conforming to what others may or may not think about you, you'll harm your potential. So just pause there. So what Harvard's saying is that FOPO and FOWOT is actually diminishing your potential. Reading again. You'll start playing it safe because you're afraid of what will happen on the other side of the critique. You'll fear being ridiculed or rejected. When challenged, you'll surrender your viewpoint. You won't raise your hand when you can't control the outcome. You won't go for that promotion because you won't think you're qualified. So as you can see, FOWOT and FOPO can be really destructive. So let me take it back to the public speaking space. And welcome, Kirsten. We're talking about FOWOT, also known as FOPO, fear of what others think of you or fear of other people's opinions. We've only got a small group, so Kirsten, Stephen, Sarah, and Peter. So how do we deal with this FOWOT? So we've worked out from the Harvard research, the Harvard Business Review, that it's destructive in more than just the public speaking or the performance. It means you won't unlock your full potential. So here's 4 strategies that I want to share with you that I teach my public speaking clients to deal with that FOPO, that FOWOT that may be running through your mind. The first strategy is it's not about you, it's about your audience. It's about the people you're training, you're educating, you're inspiring. It's about the people you're giving solutions to their problems. This is how FOWOT works in my experience. Excuse my drawing. So if we look at how much energy I have on this webinar, how much energy you have in your presentation, your training, it is 100%. That is all that I have. I cannot give you more than 100%. Now, what if I worry about, what if you don't like me? What if I stutter? What if my message doesn't resonate from you? Oh, what if my mind goes blank? And each of these little segments will be 2%, 1%, 3%, depending how much it worries you. What this means is, if I'm worrying about what you think of me, what if you don't like me? What if my mind goes blank? What if I stutter? What if my message doesn't resonate with you? I'm actually stealing from you. And this 100% drops to 85%, 82%, 90%. And this bit here, up here, this is FOWOT. This is fear of you thinking of me, what you think of me. Yeah, what if you don't like my message? What if you think I'm an idiot? What if you think I'm fake? I'm an imposter. I don't really know much about public speaking. And by doing this, I'm actually stealing from you. I've now reduced you to 85% of my energy, 85% of my attention, 85% of my presence. I'm not giving you all of me. And that's unfair to you. That's unfair to your audience. They've invested time, they've invested money, they've put hope in you having a solution to their problem, and you're worrying about what you think of me. So this, we have a name for this as well. All of this stuff up here, this is your ego. And you know what the ego is about? The ego is about you. Self-centered, selfishness. What if you don't like me? What if I muck up? Whereas when you give 100% and focus on the audience, it's about the audience. So what I say to you, and as I mentioned, excuse my writing, as I say to you, when you worry about FOWOT, you're actually stealing from the audience to feed your own ego. Tough love, I know. So you've got to get over yourself and just focus on the audience. It's not about you, it's about the audience. Let me just get rid of all of that. And so, yeah, just focus on your audience. The second strategy is, what people do think of you is their own private business. So if you fear of what others think, fear of your opinion of me, if I'm running with that, once again, I'm trying to invade your private thoughts, your private space. So Kirsten and Peter and Stephen and Sarah, you're forming an opinion of me. You're listening to the webinar, you're seeing my, my headshot in the thing there, in the little screen, and you have an opinion of me. This is either proving a waste of time, or this is valuable, or I'm not sure yet. What you think is it's your business, it's your thoughts. Why would I try and get into your minds? Why would I try and invade your personal thoughts, your personal privacy? So here's the reality. People will form an opinion of you. They're entitled to form an opinion of you. Think of our politicians. If people worried about what other people thought of them, you would never go into politics, because roughly 45 to 50% of the people are against you. Some of the top approval ratings for prime ministers is 47, 48%, which means over half of the population don't think we have a good prime minister. And that goes for all previous prime ministers as well as our current prime minister. So if you're worried about what people thought of you, you would never enter politics. We would never have politicians. So you need to put that aside and understand that people will have opinions, but what they think of you is their private thoughts. Now, just one aside here. Feedback. Feedback is different to what people think of you. Now, I do welcome feedback, but feedback should be through a formal process. So feedback is when I send out a form, or I give you a form, or I give you an online app to tell me how the webinar went. And by the way, I would value an email from you on, is this content valuable? 30 minutes too long. Did you want me to go deeper? This feedback is valuable. I don't care what you're thinking about me at the moment. Like me, hate me, indifference. I don't really mind. I'm focusing 100% on you. The feedback is something that you can then change and incorporate into your next presentation, into your next training. There's feedback, and please understand, feedback is just other people's opinions. There's feedback that you will ignore, and there's feedback that you will add and appreciate. So don't take feedback personally as well. So there's step number 2. When you recognize that what other people think of you is their own business and none of yours, you can just focus on doing a good job and go back to that first point. It's about the audience anyhow. So the third step, or the third strategy for dealing with FOWOT, is to use a service mindset. I am here today to serve you. You are there to serve your audiences, to give them information, to give them knowledge, to educate them, to give them solutions to their problems, to help them meet their key performance indicators, to help them achieve their goals. I wrote a blog about a service mindset in my recent newsletter. When you come from a service mindset, once again, it's not about you, it's about the audience. You don't have to worry about what the audiences think of you, because you've got into their footsteps, you've got into their mindset, you've got into their environment, and you're now providing them answers, solutions, information, knowledge that's going to help them. One of the best examples of someone going really deep in a service mindset, and I use this example a few times, is, so as a person who stutters, I stay connected with the speech pathology community quite a bit. The students, I speak to speech pathology students, and they often come to our support groups, people who stutter. One of the things that speech pathology students used to do is they would have a day where they would go around campus with a colleague, so 2 speech pathology students going around campus for the whole day, in class, morning tea, lunches, needing to get books. One would deliberately stutter, and the other would observe and make sure they didn't cheat, they didn't speak fluently. The next day they would reverse the role, and the other one would be the observer and the other one would stutter. The experience that they got from that was profound. They describe it as an occasion when they really understood what it's like to be a person who stutters. The humiliation, the people who laughed at them, the impatience, the people walking away and ignoring them because they couldn't get the words out. Now, this was a deliberate stutter, and the ethical dilemmas have probably been a reason why it stopped. But now they go and treat people who stutter, and they can come from a service mindset. I'm here to help you overcome your stutter. I'm here to help you be more fluent, use a fluency technique. I understand what it's like to stutter, the pain, the anguish, the humiliation, the embarrassment you go through. they're not worrying about what people think of them when they do that one day's stutter, because they're learning about the experience of stuttering so they can be better equipped therapists and have better conversations, better rapport, and resonate with their clients, the people who stutter. So just understand that every time you speak, you're there to serve that community in the room. If you worry about what you think of me, what people think of you, then you've moved from a service mindset and you've moved into an ego state and about yourself. And even if you're nervous, here's the thing, nerves don't have to go away. So fear of what others think and getting rid of FOWOT doesn't get rid of nerves. So you can be really nervous, but your audience doesn't care. So the 5 of you on this webinar, can I put it to you that you're actually very selfish? Kirsten, Sarah, Stephen, Peter, and John, you've joined recently. Please apologise. Please allow me to apologise in advance. You are a selfish audience. You all joined the webinar. You have all joined the webinar out of self-interest. None of you joined to metaphorically pat me on the back, to cheer me on. So you don't care whether I stutter. You don't care if I'm nervous. You really don't care. What you want is for me to give you some information, some knowledge to help you move forward in your life, in your career. That's the service mindset. Not about you, it's about the audience. Serve the audience and you don't have to worry about what people think of you. Strategy number 4, focus on the end goal. What do you want to happen after you've finished speaking? What do you want people to do differently? Now, I teach people in my public speaking workshops around crafting a presentation and how you start your presentation, how you start preparing a presentation rather than how you start. So how you get ready is with the end goal in mind. So after you've spoken, after you've done your training, after you've done your education, after you've done your facilitation, what do you want people to feel, to think, to do? How do you want them to react? What do you want them to do differently? Because generally we go into a room with a purpose, with a goal in mind. What do you want people to feel, think, or do differently as a result? Because if you don't want anything to change, then you are, by definition, you're hot air. You're just doing spray and pray or scattergun approach. So this clarity of purpose, this clarity of what the goal is, and especially if you come from a service mindset, so you've walked in their shoes, you've walked around campus and stuttered for a day, you know what you're trying to achieve. And when you focus on that, you've got no time to worry about what people think of you, because they are in there out of self-interest, your audience, and they have something they want from you. And if you're clear on what that end goal is and you deliver, then you have no need to worry about what people think of you. Or strategies to deal with FOWOT. Number 1, it's not about you. It is about the audience. Number 2, what people think of you is their own private business, and people will develop thoughts. This doesn't mean you don't invite feedback, constructive feedback, through a survey, through a questionnaire, through an online app to get feedback, and you can adjust and change as a result of that feedback. But worrying about what people think as you speak is a waste of your energy and a waste of your time. Service mindset, you're there to serve the people. Focus on the end goal. What do you want to happen? What do you want people to feel, do, and think after you finish speaking? Those are 4 strategies to help you deal with FOWOT. Remember from that Harvard article, FOWOT, worrying about FOWOT or FOPO, fear of what other people's opinions, will hold you back, not just in public speaking. You won't stretch. You won't answer a question. You won't go for that promotion. You won't participate at a meeting in case your idea is left field. So it's not just public speaking. It goes deeper into our everyday life. There's 4 strategies from a public speaking presentation perspective that when you get on stage, you can use either 4, any combination to deal with FOWOT. Some upcoming workshops in Perth, in Bunbury, and I've just come back from Darwin, so no more workshops in Darwin until March next year. Share that around with any colleagues. Next webinars, next Monday, public speaking from a service mindset. So I've touched on service mindset to deal with FOWOT, but I'm going to go deeper into that service mindset. The power of feedback when public speaking. I touched on, while we don't worry about what people think about us, feedback is still valuable. How do you get feedback? 4 or 5 different strategies, when to get feedback, how to make feedback specific. And are you still awake, everybody? It's really hard in the virtual world. How do you keep awake? How do you keep your audience awake? Strategies tricks, tips, things you can do to keep your audience alert, engaged, and awake. And 30 minutes is about a good length for a webinar. Any last questions? Thanks, Stephen. Thank you, Sarah. I'm going to end the webinar there. And just remember, FOWOT, people will have opinions of you. They will have thoughts about you. Just don't worry about it. Focus on your audience. Allow them to have their thoughts. Come from a service mindset and focus on the end goal. Thanks, everyone.